Hello and welcome to Camping with the Coles. We have another gear review for you today. We're going to be checking out the Elite 300 power station from BLUETTI. This is an upgraded version of the AC200L that I reviewed a couple of years ago and I've been using on a daily basis since then. In comparison to the AC200L, the Elite 300 is smaller, it's lighter, but it has 50% more capacity. They're both 2,400 watt power stations, but the AC200L has 2,048 watt hours. The Elite 300 has 3,014 watt hours. That's 50% bigger in a package that's smaller and lighter. Now that's an upgrade I can get behind. In this video, we're going to talk about specs and capabilities of the Elite 300 and some comparisons with the AC200L. Then we're going to talk about how we use a power station when we're camping in a travel trailer without electrical hookups. Let's get into it, and we'll start with the unboxing. To turn on the power station, simply press the power button right in the center here. It will illuminate, and then the screen comes on to let you know that it's working. The screen will turn off after about 30 seconds. If you'd like to turn it off yourself, though, you could just press the power button again. It turns off, but the power station stays on. You press it again, the screen comes back on. If you want to turn the entire power station off, you just long press the power button. 3 seconds, turns off. There's a button on each side of the power station. This one is to turn the DC ports on and off with the simple press of the button. And this one is for turning the AC ports on and off. The screen shows the DC input. That's how much DC power is coming into the unit from solar or a DC to DC charger. The DC output, that's how much power is coming out of the unit to power DC things you've plugged into it. AC input shows how much power is coming into the unit from an AC electrical connection, like from a regular household plug at your home or from a generator. This is the AC output that shows how much power is coming out of the unit to power AC things that you've plugged into it. In the center, it shows how much in a digital percentage capacity is left in the battery and for how long that will last at the current level of use. This blue bar shows it in a graphic, how much capacity is left in the battery. And there's a lot of other graphics that show up along the top that show things like powerlifting mode. This can go from 2,400 watts to 4,800 watts in powerlifting mode. Turbocharge. In standard mode, it receives up to 1,200 watts of input. In turbocharge mode, it receives up to 1,800 watts of input. And in silent mode, it receives up to 800 watts of input. The next graphic shows when it's in silent mode. System switch recovery. If the unit drains completely, causing it to shut down, the AC and DC status will be saved and automatically restored when it starts charging again. Eco mode. The power station will shut off after a set time of no load. And child lock. This shows if it's connected to Wi-Fi. If it is connected to Wi-Fi, you can connect to it from anywhere with the app. This shows if it's connected to Bluetooth. When it's connected to Bluetooth, you have to be within a short range to connect to it with the app. There are a bunch of others, but those are the main ones without getting into too much detail. Now, everything that you see on the screen here and more can be accessed through the BLUETTI app. Just download it and install it on your phone. Open the app, turn on the Elite 300, click on Add a Device. It will scan for nearby devices. Once it finds it, you can click on it, then click on OK and it will connect to it. It'll confirm the Bluetooth signal, then start looking for Wi-Fi. Choose your Wi-Fi network and enter the Wi-Fi password. It will confirm the Wi-Fi signal and confirm it's connected to the Elite 300. Once connected, click OK, then click Start. It'll then show the Elite 300 on the opening screen of the app. Click on it and it'll open to the main page, showing basically what it shows on the front of the power station. DC output and input, AC output and input, and whether the DC or AC output ports are turned on. The app automatically checks for updates. Because this is the first time connecting it to the app, it'll probably need to update. Just follow the on-screen instructions to update everything. Firmware upgrade. Upgrades for ARM, DSP, and BMS. Then you're all set. You can control anything with the BLUETTI app. If you have any questions about how to work anything, you can go to Guides and open up the manuals or check out the FAQs. Now let's have a look at the outlets. We'll start off with the DC outlets. This is a 12 volt 10 amp cigarette lighter output. Below that is a 12 volt 30 amp RV port. This is meant for using a power station as an RV house battery. If you're doing a van conversion, you can use this instead of buying and installing all the individual parts because they're all inside of here. Things like the battery, an MPPT charge controller, an inverter charger, bus bars, fuses, battery monitor, and all the wiring. You can use the power station that has all this built into it and plug it directly into your van with connectors. This will power all your DC 12 volt appliances in your van, and you have all the USB ports and the AC ports to power other things. So it's cheaper to buy this than all those individual parts, and it's portable. So when not needed in the van, you can take it out and use it for other things. And this is the DC input, and it's used for charging from solar panels, a DC to DC charger, or your vehicle's cigarette lighter. And then down here, we have USB outputs. So you have two USB-C. One is at 100 watts and the other is at 140 watts. And you have two USB-A. Then moving over to the AC side, we have four regular household outlets, 120 volt AC outlets. And then what I really love, right up here, we have a 30 amp TT outlet. And the TT stands for travel trailer. So when you have a 30 amp plug, it fits directly into here. You don't have to use a dog bone or any type of converter to switch it down to 20 amp. Plug your trailer directly into it. If you want to use the DC outlets, which consist of these three outlets here and the four USB ports, you simply press the DC button, which is right next to the power button. It will illuminate so that you know it's working. And now all these outlets are active and ready to be used. Same thing with the AC outlets. You just press the AC button on the other side, it illuminates, and now you can use these outlets. Now on the side of the power station, there's a grounding port, the AC input, and a circuit protector. Now you may notice something missing here. There are no other ports. There's no port to add external batteries. The AC200L has a port here. You can add external batteries to increase it from 2,048 watt hours to over 8,000 watt hours. This is a standalone unit. The 3,014 watt hours are in it, are all that you can get from this. There are four ways to charge the Elite 300. The first way, which is probably the most common way, is through a regular household outlet and use the included cable, plug it in on the side, plug it into the wall. You can bring in up to 1,800 watts that way. From a car, you can order a separate cable and you can plug it in here from the cigarette lighter, which will bring in 100 watts. Or if you have a DC to DC charger, you can plug into here and it will bring in 560 watts. From solar, you can plug solar panels into here and you can bring in up to 1,200 watts of power. Now, realistically, that's a lot of solar panels, and I'm not sure who would be carrying 1,200 watts of solar panels with them. We have the PV350, which is a 350 watt solar panel from BLUETTI, and when you order that, it comes with the proper cord for it to plug it directly into there. Or from a generator. You can plug it into a generator just like you would from the wall with the included cable. I weighed the Elite 300, and it's 57.8 pounds, or 26.2 kilograms. I weighed the AC200L, and it's 62 pounds, or 28.1 kilograms. So the Elite 300 is a little over 4 pounds lighter. The dimensions of the Elite 300 are 12 inches tall, 14.5 inches wide, and 11.75 inches deep. The AC200L is 14.4 inches tall, 16.5 inches wide, and 11 inches deep. And again, you can monitor and control everything on the Bluetti by the screen here, or you can use the Bluetti app. Now let's talk about how we can use the Elite 300 in a camping situation. One way is to use it as a standalone unit, whether you're RV camping or tent camping. Fully charge it at home, then bring it along on the camping trip. You can plug all your devices into it. You can charge your phones, laptops, rechargeable batteries. You can power lamps, a kettle, a heater, radio, basically anything. Now, some devices will drain it faster than others. Things like phones and batteries have very little drain, and this will last a very long time. But once you start using something with a heating element, well, then that drains it a lot faster. Because things like a space heater use up 1,500 watts. Well, this has just over 3,000 watts in it. 1,500 watt space heater on full continuously, you'd get a little less than 2 hours out of this unit. But if you're just charging a phone, you'll get about 80 full charges on that phone. We have a 30-foot travel trailer. Now, we haven't actually used the Elite 300 yet in a camping situation because we just got it in the winter. It's a brand new device. It's just coming out today, March 8th, 2026. So our trailer's in storage, but we have used the AC200L for the last 2 years. And this is how we use it. This is going to be just the same. Like I said earlier, the main difference between the two units is this is smaller, lighter, and it's 50% more capacity. For off-grid camping, we have a good lithium iron phosphate battery as the house battery for the trailer. And then we use the power station in conjunction with that. Our trailer house battery is a 300 amp hour battery. Now, to compare apples to apples, we'd like to make this into amp hours. So the way to do that is take the 3,014 watt hours that it is, divide it by the volts, which is 12 volts, and that gets us 251 amp hours. So we have 300 amp hours in the trailer for DC power, and we have 251 amp hours in the power station for AC power. The AC200L has 171 amp hours. At the campsite, I want to be as efficient as possible. I want to use the house batteries and the power station and kind of drain them evenly. I don't want one to be at 100% and the other one down to 20%. It's nice to drain them easily. And the way I do that is I switch off the breaker in the trailer for the converter. The converter is for when AC power is coming in or shore power is coming into your trailer. It converts that power to DC power to operate the DC devices and to also to charge the house battery. Now, I don't want it to charge the house battery, so that's why I switch off the converter. That way, I use the power station to run all the AC devices in the trailer, which are like the electrical outlets, the microwave, the air conditioner, and I let the house batteries operate all the DC devices in the trailer. And that's like the power tongue jack, the power slide, the power awning, all the lights, carbon monoxide detector, the fridge in propane mode, the water heater in propane mode. The DC power charges all that. I don't want it so that every time I turn on the power station that it immediately starts charging the batteries and my house battery is at 100% and then this thing is charging everything. I try to keep them going down evenly, and that's the way I do it. Now you'll notice I mentioned the air conditioner in there. We have a 13,500 BTU air conditioner, and I have tested it with the AC200L, and it will operate the air conditioner without an issue. I do have a soft start, and that helps so there's no big power surge at the beginning, but I've also tested it with my buddy's trailer that does not have a soft start, and it still operated the air conditioning no problem. Now, I normally put the power station outside on a picnic table under the trailer awning, and I use a cable lock to lock it to the picnic table. The handles on it are perfect for running the cable through. By the way, I love these handles because you can get a real grip on them. They're easy to grab to pull it out of the back of a pickup truck or to even carry it with one hand. Some power stations have finger holes as handles, and that means you're using your fingertips to pick it up, and you always need two hands to carry it, and there's nothing to put a cable lock through to lock it. I've seen some people put the power station in one of their outer storage compartments. I think that's a great idea. You can put it in there, and then you cut a hole in the door of the compartment and install a cable pass through there. That way you can keep it locked inside the compartment. You can keep it dry because this thing is not waterproof. It can handle a little bit of misting, but you don't want to leave it out there in the pouring rain. If you got it in a hatch like that, it's well protected. I think that might be something that I'm going to look into doing this year. Then you just take your power cord from the side of your trailer, bring it into one of your hatches, plug it right into the power station, and everything's enclosed, and you're good to go. When we're away from the trailer, I turn the power station off because there's nothing that needs to be running when I'm away from the trailer. When I'm back, I turn the power station on. Because just leaving it on, it will drain some power. So there's no reason to leave it on if you're not using anything. When the trailer's plugged into it, we can use anything just like we're plugged into shore power. We can use the microwave. We can use all the outlets. We can watch TV. And also through the regular trailer outlets, I plug in our phones, our watches, batteries, laptops, do all that charging, just using the regular outlets in the trailer. When I'm camping like this, I do take some steps to conserve power. I don't run it just like I would if we were hooked up to shore power. Because if I can help it, I'd rather not have to recharge this thing when we're out camping. Now, if we are out camping, there are a couple ways to recharge it. Unfortunately for us, we're often in a well-treed area with a tree canopy when we're camping at provincial parks. So solar is very difficult. Like I said, we do have the PV 350 solar panel, but I find that I'm always chasing the sun throughout the day. And I have to be at the campsite and keep on moving the solar panels to where the sun is. And even then, at best, we're bringing in 300 watts at a time. It takes a long time to charge it up. What I normally do, if we have a friend with an electric site, we asked if we can plug in to their electricity and charge this thing up. It'll be charged up in about an hour and 20 minutes fully. Or I take it to the comfort station. And if there's a laundry room, I like to use that because it's usually a little less used, a little less foot traffic, and I'll plug it in there. And usually I only need half an hour, 45 minutes or so, because I never drain it right down to the bottom. I might have it at 30% or whatever, and I top it up a little bit, and then I'm good to go for the rest of the trip. And some of the things I do to conserve is generally try to not run things with a heating element in it. So we normally use a kettle to boil our water. Well, that's 1,500 watts being used for that kettle. The easier way is to just boil some water on the stovetop, and then we pour that into our French press. We got our coffee made, and we didn't use up any extra power. If it's cold and we need some heat, if we're camping with electrical hookups, I often use a space heater to supplement the furnace. But if we're using this, I won't use a space heater at all. Again, 1,500 watts. Don't need that. I'll use the furnace. Also, to conserve, I don't run the air conditioner because that draws 1,800 to 2,000 watts. And like I said earlier, that can drain the power station quite quickly. I will use the microwave. It draws about 1,000 watts, but it's only for a minute or two at a time, so it's not that big of a deal. Doing little things like this makes it so I can easily go 5 days without power using the Elite 300 and our 300 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. You can use the Elite 300 as a UPS, which is an uninterruptible power supply. So you plug it in to the wall outlet in your home or in your travel trailer when you have electricity, and it has pass-through technology. So any devices that you plug in here, it will come directly from your wall through the Elite 300 and to your device. So if you have something like a CPAP at night and you need it running for 8 hours, you can be getting all the electricity from your home or from the pedestal at the trailer, and it'll just pass through here. But if power goes out, there's a 10 millisecond delay, and then this will take over powering your device. 10 milliseconds, your devices won't even notice. They won't shut down. They'll just continuously run. So that's excellent. If you have something like a medical device like a CPAP, it will just keep on running it. The other way to do it is if you're camping without electricity, you can plug your CPAP into here or other devices and run it that way. This will power them. It'll be able to run a standard CPAP for about 40 hours. At the beginning of the video, I told you I use the AC200L on a daily basis. Let me explain that. because this thing can do the same thing. Our camping season is about 6 months, and for the other 6 months, the trailer sits in storage. So instead of just bringing this to the house and keeping it in storage, I put it to use. In our area, we have time of use pricing for electricity. So there is a high peak time, a mid peak time, and an off peak. Off peak is from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. Using the electricity off peak is much cheaper than using it mid peak or high peak. I spend a lot of time each day working on my computer, either editing videos or researching things. I have a laptop computer, a second monitor, USB hub, multiple external hard drives, speakers, as well as a lamp with a clock and a phone plugged in. When working on the computer, I can draw 50 to 180 watts continuously during peak and mid-peak times. So what I do is plug all those devices into 2 power bars and plug the 2 power bars into the Bluetti power station. Through the Bluetti app, I set a schedule. So this only accepts a charge from the wall from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., which is off-peak pricing. During the daytime, when I'm doing all my work at mid-peak and high peak, all the electricity is coming from the power station. So using the power station this way, when it would normally be sitting for storage, is a way that I can save money. This power station is designed for up to 6,000 full charge cycles before it goes down to 80%, which means 16 years of receiving a full charge every single day. So I have no concerns at all using this on a daily basis. On a side note with the scheduling, I thought it was pretty cool. The other day I received a notice on my phone. It was from the Bluetti app. It was during the daytime, so the Bluetti was not charging from the wall. It was just powering all my computer stuff. And the notification said that there is a severe weather alert. And because of that, it put the Bluetti into backup mode. Backup mode means it starts charging. So when it knew that there was severe weather coming, it just started charging fully so that it's prepared in case of a power outage. The Canada Weather Service had put out an orange alert at that time for freezing rain with potential for power outages. This just took care of that automatically. Now that's the default setting on it when you have a schedule, but you can turn that off if you want. But I thought that was pretty cool. The Bluetti Elite 300 is available now. The Canadian pricing is $16.99 until April 8th, 2026. I'll put the link in the description below. You can use our discount code Camping Elite 300 for an additional 6% off of that price. That's it for this review. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and happy camping.